selected to receive. Kicking off for Atlanta, Brad Dalluiso, the rookie from UCLA. And back deep for Kansas City, Harvey Williams. And we're underway, and Dalluiso gets a good one. Williams back 5 yards in his own end zone, decides to not bring it out. It'll be Kansas City ball, 1st and 10 from their own 20. And flags being thrown before the first play takes place. Well, tell me emotions aren't running high.
It's something the coaches talked about from Kansas City before this game. Atlanta likes to swarm the receiver on kickoffs.
On the kickers, number 38, 15-yard penalty, first down.
Well, a 15-yard penalty as Steve DeBerg will get some additional yardage. DeBerg, MVP of this team last year, the league's 3rd-rated quarterback, and he's got a big offensive line in front of him, anchored by John Alt and Rich Baldniger at the opposite tackles, Jonathan Hayes at tight end. And the running backs, Christian Okoye, healthy this year. The Nigerian Nightmare is back. Wide receivers, Rob Thomas and Stephon Page. James Saxon starting at running back in place of Bill Jones. Marty Schottenheimer, 47-year-old coach, starting his 3rd season here in Kansas City. Took the team to the best record in 21 years last season, 11-5.
And we saw a good example of that Jerry Glanville kind of macho baloney his players like to pull on that opening kickoff. They wouldn't let the guy out of the end zone. The refs hit him quick.
And the result, Kansas City starting at its own 35, 1st and 10. First play, Okoye moving the pile. 2 bruising yards gained by Christian Okoye, stopped by Tim Green.
And this is the front line of this Atlanta defense, whose goal in life is to get 11 helmets on the ball carrier every time. The linebackers led by Robert Lyles.
2nd and 8 on the no huddle. Christian Okoye running left this time. And Okoye, another 2. Darian Connor on the stop.
And here the Atlanta Falcons secondary. Speed on the outside, hitters on the inside. Case and Jordan will stick a running back or a wide receiver if they come near him.
Not a bashful secondary, Randy. Specifically, McKyer. 3rd and 6.
Tim McKyer loves to talk, but it's funny. He barely gets a word in edgewise with Deion Sanders and Andre Rison and these guys with this Falcon team.
Ball at the 39 of Kansas City. 4 wide receivers in. DeBerg out of the shotgun. Incomplete as DeBerg was looking for Rob Thomas. And Randy, that's one thing DeBerg is going to have to do today, and that's to get rid of the ball quickly because of that blitzing Atlanta defense.
Exactly. You're going to see him get a lot of pressure. They're going to come after Steve DeBerg. The key for Steve DeBerg today is not so much getting protection from the outside, it's getting it inside so he can step up. Look at that. He's on his back leg. He's falling backwards as he throws that ball. He needs to be able to step up into the pocket when he throws his passes.
Deion Sanders, the electrifying one, is back to receive this Brian Barker punt. Deion from his own 21. And picks up maybe 2 yards on the return. Stopped by Tim Barnett, the rookie wide receiver out of Jackson State. A 40-yard punt by Barker, 2-yard return by Sanders. Chris Miller, 5th-year quarterback out of the University of Oregon, heading onto the field. Left last week, week 12 last year, that is, with a broken collarbone, or right collarbone. Says he's healthy, and all he needs to be is healthy this year to have a good season. So Atlanta will start from its own 23. First series for the Falcons. Haynes to the left. Pat Chafee in motion. On the ground, this is Keith Jones. And Jones, good hard run up to the 30. 7-yard gain by Keith Jones, third-year running back out of Illinois. Impressive offensive line anchored by Mike Ken, 14th-year pro, and Chris Hinton, 9th-year pro, both multi-Pro Bowl players. Running backs, poor running game last year, ranked only 21st in the league. Looking to improve, Andre Rison and Michael Haynes, the wide receivers. Second and 3 out of the I formation. Tracy Johnson in motion. On the ground to Broussard. And Broussard tries to skip his way, only a 1-yard gain. Stopped by Derek Thomas.
Tackled by Derek Thomas and Dino Hackett. Pick up the 1, 3rd and 2.
6 defensive backs in now for the Chiefs. To take a look at Derek Thomas coming off of a sensational season. 3rd and 2. Red gun offense, 4 wide receivers. And flags on a play. Mike Ken looked to be the guilty party that time moving.
And it also appeared they were going to try a direct snap there.
False start. Offense. Number 78. 5-yard penalty. Prior to the snap. Still 3rd down.
And head coach Jerry Glanville there employed the direct snap at Houston and brought it with him to Atlanta. But we'll see Mike Ken trying to get a jump. It was going to be a snap straight there to the quarterback. Quick handoff. But Mike tried to get a little bit of a jump start on everybody else.
We'll bring up a 3rd and 7 for the Falcons.
Big Mike Ken's got to think quick all day today, working against Derek Thomas, number 58, that leading sacker in the NFL last year.
Back to 4 wideouts for the Falcons. Miller back to pass. Throws it complete. And it looks to be enough for the first down as Keith Jones on the reception that time. Good run, good play. 9-yard pickup. First down, Falcons.
You saw Keith Jones slashing and running north and south on the first play of the game. Here you're going to see why Jerry Glanville likes this guy. He's going to get hit by Kevin Ross. Good smack, but managed to spin out of that tackle and get that first down. Jerry Glanville likes his back, especially on AstroTurf. He says he can slash and he can really run up and down the field.
1st and 10. Ball at the 35 of Atlanta. Johnson in motion. And the handoff on the ground again. And Jones, excellent ball running here. 9-yard gain on a play stopped by Chris Martin. So Atlanta taking a page out of the Kansas City running book. And a Chief is down on the field. And Randy, it looks to be Albert Lewis. Our coverage from Arrowhead Stadium will continue after this message from your local station. You're watching the NFL on CBS.
We'll see Keith Jones carrying the ball in this replay, taking it to Albert Lewis. He puts the hit on the defensive back. Freeze it there. Watch the defensive back. Lewis never gets his hips through the block. Jones bounces right off him, and Lewis gets stunned on the play. Jones is just doing what Glanville wants him to do, and that's go north and south.
Lewis left the field under his own power, replaced by J.C. Pearson. 2nd and 1 for the Falcons. Ball at the 44. This is Jones again, and Jones reverses field and across midfield for the first down. 7-yard pickup by Keith Jones, finally stopped by the combination of Derek Thomas and Kevin Ross. Well, Atlanta looking to improve on that 21st ranking ground game from last year.
Well, you know, Jerry Glanville told us yesterday, Steve Broussard, he's quick, he's shifty, but I want a guy that's tough, and I want a guy that will get the hard yards for me, and I'm going to start Keith Jones tomorrow because on this artificial surface, he can scoot, and he can make the difference making those quick cuts. That was a good defensive play by the Chiefs. They had the onside shut off, but Jones was able to cut back and get the extra yards.
And Scoot Jones has 3 carries for 23 yards as you take a look at some scores from around the league. 2nd and 10 for Ball at the 49 of Kansas City. 9:53 left in the first quarter. No score. And Atlanta will be signaled again for the violation. Chris Hinton up and down on the right side of the line, the big right tackle. Dick Hantag busy already.
False start. Offense prior to the snap. Number 75. 5-yard penalty. Still first down.
Big Chris Hinton's jumping off sides. Let's understand one thing right now, folks. This is an offensive unit for the Falcons that has only played a game and a half together in the first 4 preseason games. They're just finally hitting their gear and getting into step. They're going to be rusty, and that's the kind of thing and the kind of place it's going to show.
First and 15. Third penalty already on the Falcons. 25 yards lost in the process. Miller back to pass with time. Complete. And Andre Rison picking up about 9 to 10 of those yards. Call it a 9-yard gain to bring up a 2nd and 6. June Jones, new addition to the staff this year, and a big plus for Jerry Glanville.
Not only for Jerry Glanville, but also for Chris Miller. Here's a run-and-shoot expert that's come down here to Atlanta, mixed in a little bit of Glanville's hard-nosed running game with the June Jones run-and-shoot offense, and done a world of good for the confidence of this young quarterback, Chris Miller.
Miller was effusive in his praise for Jones. 2nd and 6. Jones on the ground again, and Jones looks to have enough for the first down. It'll be close.
What we're seeing right now, ladies and gentlemen, is just what Jerry Glanville was talking about last night. When you play a team like this, you've got to come out, you've got to show them what you can do. It's sort of a mano a mano, kind of a macho test. They're coming out and they're pounding the ball at this bigger Kansas City Chief team.
Ball is marked 1 yard shy of the first down marker. Keith Jones, 4 carries, 28 yards. Glanville likes what he's seen so far. Atlanta on the march. Ball at the 40 of Kansas City. Jones, first down. Chris Martin on the tackle.
Tackled by Chris Martin and Tracy Simeon.
7:45 left in the first quarter play. No score. Chiefs and Falcons have only met twice. Both Chief victories. First one back in 1972. Last one back in 85.
So far, the Atlanta Falcons are winning the war up front physically against that Kansas City Chiefs defense.
First and 10 from the 38 of Kansas City. On the ground again, Jones. And Jones runs smack into Deron Cherry. Only a 1 yard gain. Good help by Deron Cherry. Cherry looks to be back. Had reconstructive knee surgery last season. Played the last 6 or 7 ball games. Came in actually 8 pounds lighter this year, Randy.
He probably played last year. He got that I'm a Pro Bowler, I'm all pro attitude. I'll come back as fast as I can. Probably came back a little too soon last year. Had to sit out a little extra time after he tried his comeback, and now he's had a chance of a full off season to get strong. And the Chiefs believe he's back in all pro shape.
2nd and 9 from the 37 of the Chiefs. Miller with time. Incomplete. Intended receiver Andre Rison has Albert Lewis back in the game, covering him tightly. A little help as well from Kevin Porter, the strong safety.
And this defensive backfield for Kansas City will be the test for Chris Miller in the passing game of the Falcons. This is the best defensive backfield in the NFL. And if the run and shoot's going to be successful, they have to beat the best at their own game.
3rd and 9. The Chiefs with 6 defensive backs in. 10th play of the drive for the Falcons. Miller complete for the first down at the 20 of Kansas City. A 17-yard pickup. And Mike Pritchard, the rookie out of Colorado, with the sure hands.
Jerry Glanville can't say enough about Mike Pritchard. And you see the Chris Miller starts with the roll right, which opens up his slot receiver. Pritchard coming over from the left. actually good coverage there by Petrie, but there wasn't much he could do because Miller put that ball right where only Pritchard could get it.
First and 10 for the Falcons. Ball at the 20 of Kansas City, and Eric Pegram, a rookie out of North Texas State, in at the running back. This is Pegram. And Pegram with a gain of about 3.
Eric Pegram, the ball carrier.
Last week's preseason game for the Falcons against Dallas was Pegram Day. It was Pegram right and Pegram left and Pegram up the middle, and when Jerry Glanville looked up at the scoreboard, he was suddenly behind 17-0. But they wanted to feature this running back because he really thinks a lot of him.
And boy, was he impressive. Nicknamed the Pilgrim. Pegram to the sideline. Steve Broussard back in. A gain of 4 on that play by Pegram. Will bring up a 2nd and 6. Glanville looking at his team, positioned at the 16 of the Chiefs. Miller tosses it away, feeling the backside pressure, and a flag on the play. Chris Martin trying to plead his case.
And I don't know if he's being flagged as much for the intent as he is for the action. Let's take a look at this and see how he puts Miller on the ground. It's not that late, but he piled on him after he hit him to the point where he drilled his face, really drilled his face right into the ground.
Personal foul, roughing the passer on the defense, number 57. We will penalize half the distance to the goal line. First down.
One more time, Chris Martin. When you see in slow motion, it'll look a lot worse. But look at him come around the head. You'd think he got him that time for slapping around the head like that on that sack.
Half the distance to the goal line, so the ball will be placed on the 8. It'll be first and goal for the Falcons. Ball at the 8.
Marty Schottenheimer talking to his assistants upstairs on the headset saying, hey guys, you think this wake-up call's got my boys ready or what? Looks like they're sleepwalking.
Chafee down to the 1. Pat Chafee, first-year player out of Oregon State. So Jerry Glanville mixing up the attack with the running backs. And Atlanta pushing the Chiefs up and down the field, Randy.
Right now, it's just a physical mismatch. These Atlanta Falcons, who are really sort of undersized, you listen to Kansas City, they want to talk about their physical nose guard, Dan Saliamua, and Neil Smith, a world-class run defender, and their great stopping linebackers. The Atlanta Falcons are stuffing it right now in their ear.
And Schottenheimer looking at his squad, having been pushed up the field for 13 plays, 9 minutes he lapsed off the clock. Second and goal. Jones, stop.
Let's look at this from the side. Should be some nice contact about 2 feet from the goal line as Jones tries to power through. There was Dino Hackett and Tracy Simeon, the ex-World Leaguer, coming in there and stuffing that play.
And it looks like we may have an official's timeout out there, Randy. A little housekeeping by the officials. Contact maybe.
Third and goal.
Third and goal as you take a look. A complete mismatch, total offense in favor of the Falcons.
The only thing that's more lopsided is time of possession to this point.
Jones, stop again. Tracy Simeon.
Watch Lloyd Burris, number 34. When you come up here on this replay, you're going to see him come with the first force. Now we're going to see the field goal first, then we'll see the replay.
Brad Daloiso, just brought here from Green Bay, will attempt the field goal. And Daloiso's 20-yard field goal is good, so the Falcons come away with something. 16 plays up the field. Falcons have to settle for a field goal.
Two things to look for right here on this play. Lloyd Burris, number 34, the safety, is going to fill in from this way and stop the lead block and turn it back inside. Then watch Dino Hackett, world-class fill for a linebacker in a goal line situation. Look at him, right along the line, filling, wrapping his arms. Great play by the Kansas City goal line defense.
So a major assist to Lloyd Burris, huh?
Lloyd Burris, that's his job, to turn everything inside and let those linebackers make the tackles in that situation.
And Daloiso, a low swibber. But Williams back in his end zone again. Touchback, so Kansas City will bring it out to its own 20. 16 plays covering 74 yards, 10:43 time off the clock on that last drive, that last complete series by Atlanta. Kansas City will see what it can do with 2:41 left in the first. Near capacity crowd here on opening day at Arrowhead Stadium. And the fans saw their Chiefs pushed up and down the field, 74 yards to be exact, but holding, and Atlanta only coming away with the field goal.
16 plays in that drive, 11 of them were rushes, but that field goal, Jerry Glanville's got to be disappointed. He had to just want a touchdown. A field goal was almost only a moral victory.
First and 10 for the Chiefs from their own 20. Stephon Page in motion. This is Okoye, and Okoye with the hole. He'll be hard to stop. He's got the first down and bowls his way up to the 46. 26-yard scamper.
Christian Okoye, 6'1", 260 pounds. The counter tray works to perfection behind John Alt. Look at that straight arm on Tim McKyer. That's no contest. Christian Okoye told us on Friday, James, I feel sorry for these defensive backs. I really do. I'm so much bigger. I could hurt one of these guys.
Perfect example of it. I guess it's hard to scamper when you weigh 260, huh?
You can do anything you want when you run that fast at 260.
From the 46 on first down, play action. DeBerg completes the Page for the first down. The 81st consecutive game that Stephon Page has caught at least one pass.
What made that was the play action fake. Page is wide open. Watch the block coming in up here right at the end. These Chiefs are ready for the DBs. They know Scott Case, who blurred across your screen, likes to get shots.
Okoye had him running east-west that time. The only way to be effective against him, Randy.
Well, Christian Okoye, when he's running from goalpost to goalpost, it's almost like I said last year in this game like this, it's like stopping a VW bug rolling downhill. You better wrap it up or move it out of the way. But when you get him going sideways, he doesn't run with as much confidence, and he's a lot easier to break down.
A pickup of 2 on the play. We'll bring up a 2nd and 8 for the Chiefs with under a minute to play in the first quarter. Ball marked at the 27 of Atlanta. 3-0 Falcons. DeBerg backs a pass. Going up top. Just over the outstretched arms of Rob Thomas. Bobby Butler, the 11th year veteran out of Florida State, with the blanket coverage.
And Jerry Glanville said Bobby Butler there out of Florida State had the best training camp of any one of his defensive backs this year. 11-year veteran, getting a little old, hasn't lost a step. Excellent play there.
Butler says he attributes his longevity at that position to off-season conditioning. 6 defensive backs in for the Falcons. 39 seconds remaining in the first period of play. 4 wideouts in for Kansas City. DeBerg pressured, dropped, and sacked. Give the credit to Albert Shelley, the special teams captain from Atlanta.
Watch Shelley come in from the left side here. There was nobody to pick him up. Steve DeBerg has 6 blockers. Atlanta has 7 blitzers. You don't really make much plans to be blocking a defensive back coming out of the slot that wide out.
And DeBerg trying his best not to show it, but folks, he was rattled on that play. A loss of 10 on the sack. And that's the end of the first quarter. Score here, Atlanta on top by a field goal. 3-0. Over 77,000 strong here at Arrowhead Stadium. First quarter action, Atlanta on top by a field goal, 3-0. This is Brian Barker back to punt for the Chiefs. Deion Sanders back to receive for the Falcons. And Barker gets a good one away. Deion lets it go, but it takes a Kansas City bounce. And it'll be down at the 3-yard line. Tim Barnett. Alert play by the Jackson State rookie. A 32-yard punt by Barker. Atlanta will take over on its own 5.
You're looking at 2 of the best special teams in the NFL. Sanders trying to fake him out, pointing to the side. But Barker gets a nice kick. Now watch where they spot this ball. Barnhart grabbed it. He was over the 5, though he came down on a 3. It's where he got possession, which was over the 5-yard line marker.
First and 10 from its own 5. Falcons. Miller going up top, looking for Haynes. And it's picked off. Albert Lewis.
Here's Haynes working against Lewis. Chris Miller is an Oregon Duck. This is an Oregon Duck. This ball is helicoptering. It's up in the air. Look at Lewis. That's what makes him a Pro Bowler. He outfights the receiver for the ball. Look at him go through Haynes to get to that football. That was a Pro Bowl play.
Albert Lewis left for a series in the first quarter with a bruised shoulder right back. Not a harder working player on the Chiefs team than Albert Lewis. First and 10, Kansas City from the 46 of Atlanta. Okoye stopped in the backfield. And a loss on a play. Give the credit to Darian Connor. Impressive linebacker from Jackson State, 2nd year.
A couple of years ago, Atlanta brought in Andre Bruce. He was going to be the big player. Look at Darian Connor, 56, runs right through the attempted counter tray, loots the right guard. I don't think ever he really even saw him. Connor ran right around the play to make the tackle.
And Connor dropped Okoye for a loss of 2. And boy, you have to get Okoye before he starts. 2nd and 12. 3 wideouts in for the Chiefs. Okoye wrapped up in the backfield again. So Atlanta doing an excellent job of getting through. That was Tim Green. Greg Gumbel and Terry Bradshaw will provide us with an update.
Well, JB, at Cleveland, the Browns were set up by a pass interference call on the Cowboys, and Kevin Mack scored from the 1. And a few extracurriculars on the sideline tells you it's for real. Meanwhile, the Cowboys are threatening inside the 10-yard line. Second quarter, Cleveland leads it. Back to JB.
All right, Greg, and Dallas is the surprise team that Terry Bradshaw has picked for this season.
Well, he lives there. He's got him. His paper boy will start throwing his paper in the pool, and the trash guys will leave his cans on the sidewalk. Childish things like that on occasion.
And you heard the result. that play. The boos by the 77,000 here. 1st and 10, ball at the 17 of the Falcons. Okoye. And Okoye, maybe a yard.
One of the challenges for Marty Schottenheimer and the Chiefs now with this blitzing, attacking Atlanta defense is not to get frustrated. They're going to make big plays on you like Connor did earlier, and they're going to get a guy like Green through the line of scrimmage, and they're going to stuff you at the line of scrimmage. But you have to be patient and know that sooner or later you're going to pop a big run. You're going to pop a big pass to Anders. You're going to make them pay with big plays.
Right now, Jerry Glanville's team has done a pretty decent job. 2nd and 9. DeBerg to throw. Incomplete, as Darian Connor had all kinds of pressure on Steve DeBerg. Mike Gann was around him as well.
Mike Gann's a player out of Notre Dame, though, holding against the defense.
Whoa, late flag over the far side of the field. And it may be on Tim McKyer. You see him trying to argue his case.
Holding. Defense. Number 22. 5 yards. Automatic first down.
So McKyer trying to slow down Stephon Page.
Tim McKyer has told us in the past, the only routes they can run on me is an in and an out and up or a streak. They must have been trying that, and he tried to hold. As you saw, Gann just put the leather there to Steve DeBerg. Watch Gann get in here. Oof. Tell you, Mike Gann is going to be an all-pro if this team ever decides to have a winning season.
1st and 10. Ball on the 11. Okoye. Sheds one tackle. And stopped at the 1-yard line. A 10-yard run by Christian Okoye. Give a little credit to David Zott, left guard, leading the way as well.
First down.
You see some of these little defensive backs coming up to tackle Christian Okoye. Looks like commuters trying to get to a bus when the doors close, and they're jumping to get in, and the doors close, and they just kind of bounce off.
Smashed. 1st and goal. Ball marked at the 1. Three tight ends, power formation, play action. And James Saxon cannot get to the end zone. Play read perfectly that time by Scott Case. 8th-year free safety out of Oklahoma. A loss of 3 on that play.
That might have been an example right there of Marty Schottenheimer and these Chiefs trying to be a little too cute. They've got the ball down there. They've got it close to the goal line. You've got the size advantage. You got the big power backs. Just blast that thing in there.
Let's see if Schottenheimer agrees. 2nd and goal, ball at the 4. On the ground, Saxon, the ball carrier. Is it loose? Fumble. Picked up by Atlanta. This is Bobby Butler. And Butler takes it across the 40. A flag on the play. So Bobby Butler recovers the fumble, and Atlanta escapes as Schottenheimer. Can't believe it.
I think if he had to do that over again, Marty might have run a nice, strong running play on 1st down and not even bothered with trying to do any of this cutesy stuff. This is patented Jerry Glanville.
On the defensive team, 5-yard penalty, first down.
Jerry Glanville, when he was defensive coordinator for these Atlanta Falcons, and even when he went to Houston as a head coach, his teams are opportunistic. They create turnovers. They just create trouble. You see the ball starts coming loose. And now it's all Bobby Butler heading down the sideline. Getting good blocking, and there's Lutz with a face mask.
Could be more by Atlanta. Jerry Glanville hoping that will be the case on this drive. 10:52 remaining in the 1st half.
When you're the underdog like Atlanta is, though, you need touchdowns. Field goals are not going to beat the Kansas City Chiefs.
Broussard in motion. Play action. Miller. goes the intended receiver, Michael Haynes. Wide to the left, Kevin Porter on the coverage.
Red gun offense and a normal run and shoot. They have drop back pass protection. They have a tight end. They have a running back. It's sort of a hybrid of the idea, and actually, to be honest with you, I think this is the proper usage of the run and shoot. It's something that's a great weapon, but you got to have the ability to play power football in this league to be successful.
2nd and 10, and this is the red gun offense. 4 wide outs in, and play stop. Action stop before the play.
Timeout. Kansas City, their first timeout.
Well, self-explanatory. Schottenheimer wants to talk it over. Nothing. James Brown along with Randy Cross. And Randy, I mentioned at the top that we were here last year when Kansas City played Minnesota. But you see there's a common thread between last year's game and this year.
Well, definitely. Last year, Kansas City was the underdog. Minnesota was the contender. Atlanta is playing like they're the favorite team here. And Kansas City is playing like kind of a fat and happy football team, not really paying good attention to the basics, the fundamentals, which is Marty Schottenheimer's forte. Go to the fundamentals. Right now, you got to give them about a C- to a D on fundamentals. Steve DeBerg and company on offense has got to get it cranked up and get focused.
But I guess the key, as you mentioned before, is that Atlanta has to capitalize and put some TDs on the board, not field goals.
Field goals won't beat them because this Atlanta defense is going to give up some big plays to Steve DeBerg and this offense sooner or later. So this offense for the Atlanta Falcons has to get touchdowns. They need to go to 10 points, to 17, to 24, because it's going to take at least 20 points to beat Kansas City Chiefs today.
Jerry Glanville trying to break the road woes skid of the Falcons. 18 consecutive losses on the road. 2nd and 10. Ball at the 48 of Atlanta. Miller looking for Rise and overthrows it. 2nd interception of the afternoon for Albert Lewis. And Lewis takes it to midfield. Randy, we saw signs of those kinds of miscues in preseason with Chris Miller and his receivers. And we'll talk a little bit about why that happened when we come back.
At the beginning of this play, Chris Miller did a good thing. He looks off at the defensive backs to the left, goes for his pass, but look what he does. 1, 2, 3, 4 defensive backs. His guy's open in the zone, but he overthrows them, and Albert Lewis gets a gift. Christmas comes in September for the all-pro defensive back for Kansas City. Chris Miller, just bad effort. Everything was fine. The read was fine. Throw was terrible.
Albert Lewis, the recipient. And the gift from that young man there, Chris Miller. 1st and 10. Ball at the 49 of Atlanta. DeBerg back to pass. Throws it complete, about a yard shy of the first down marker. Reception by Stephon Page. Let's check back in for an NFL Today update with Greg Gumbel.
Well, JB, at Green Bay, big headache for new Eagles head coach Rich Kotite. Randall Cunningham hit on the left knee, first play of the 2nd quarter. He is gone for the day. Jim McMahon's quarterbacking. The Eagles lead it 3-0. JB?
All right, Greg. Jim McMahon did have a pretty decent preseason, though, so we'll see what he can do with the Eagles. And DeBerg loses the ball, but finally gets it back. Pressured that time by Oliver Barnett.
Steve DeBerg is the best play-action faker in the NFL, and what makes him good is he fakes with the ball. Look at him fake with the ball to Okoye, but the ball comes loose as it slaps against his leg coming out of there, and he does a smart thing here. He doesn't try to pick it up and throw it. He sees it's going to be trouble, and he dives on it.
DBs in for the Falcons, 4 wideouts for the Chiefs on 3rd and 10. Flags on the play, and DeBerg throws it short. Intended receiver was Stephon Page, but again, there were flags on the play. Tim Green. Perhaps was offside. Yep.
I guarantee you, if you're playing against Steve DeBerg and you're on defense.
Defense, number 99, 5-yard penalty. Repeat, third down.
If you're playing against Steve DeBerg and you're defensive lineman, you at best hold your water, because that guy has got a snap count that would make you jerk and fall on your face half the time. I mean, the guy really can draw defensive linemen off. Look for a few more of those here in this game.
Guys go out on the field with cups of water.
Yeah.
6 penalties against the Falcons. Penalized 50 yards. 3rd and 5. Connor with the pressure. Nearly caught anyway by Kimball Anders. But give Darian Connor the credit as he pressured Steve DeBerg to get rid of it quickly.
And you see Mike Gann high-fiving himself off the field there. He was in coverage on Anders there. He was in coverage. Number 76 was there, and he goes off the field high-fiving. I could have had it. I'd have gone all the way, but a good pass defense. Look at this. Look at this. Pass defense. Mike Gann, the big linebacker out of Notre Dame, wearing 76.
Good wingspan. Ryan Barker on the front. Low snap. Gets it away. And this time it does not take a Kansas City bounce. So the Falcons will bring it out to their own 20. 9:12 remaining in the first half. And it's an Atlanta Braves kind of score. Only 3-0.
Preseason fantasy camp for Mike Ruther wearing 83. Now look at the 55 on his helmet. They changed him to 83 because he has to play tight end because Gary Wilkins has been hobbled all preseason long. But I tell you what, as an offensive lineman in the league, I would die to have lined up at tight end. At least once.
Oh.
I'd have done the same thing, just blocked.
1st and 10 for Atlanta. On the ground, Pat Chafee across the 25 to about the 26. A gain of 6 on the play. That'll bring up a 2nd and 4 for Atlanta.
Tackled by Leonard Griffin and Deron Cherry.
And a player down, number 98, Leonard Griffin, 6th-year player out of Grambling for Kansas City.
He had 6 on the play, 2nd and 4.
And while Griffin is being attended to, we'll take a break here.
That stance, just sort of crouched down. Look at him working against 57. Martin turns him out. Now he's kind of lost. He says, what do I do now? Do I put my hand up if I'm open or what?
Leonard Griffin went to the sidelines under his own power. Looked to have been a lower back injury. We'll try to update you as soon as we find out. 2nd and 4 for the Chiefs. Make that the Falcons. And a good spin move by Jones. And Jones with 1st down and plenty to spare. Nice move, finally stopped by Deron Cherry. An 11-yard run by Keith Jones. Coming up next, CBS Sports NFL doubleheader action continues. The Chicago Bears play host to the Minnesota Vikings. Minnesota, of course, featuring Anthony Carter. The Vikings will be playing without Keith Millard, so that'll be a big one coming up next. 8 minutes remaining in the first half. Chiefs trailing by a field goal. On the ground again, Pat Chafee. A gain of 4 on the play, stopped by Derek Thomas. Will bring up a 2nd and 6 for Atlanta.
Neil Smith right next to Thomas, 58, number 90 here, working against Hinton. Look at Hinton driving him off the ball. And that's one of the best run defenders in the AFC, Neil Smith. Plays with great leverage. Guy's 6'4", has a 7'1" wingspan from tip to tip on his fingers. He gets those arms on people and gets under them. He can stand you straight up, but a great job that time by Chris Hinton.
Leonard Griffin back in for this series. Bruised back and all. 2nd and 6 for the Falcons. Miller with time, a little dump off to Broussard for the 1st down. And Wisely tiptoes out of bounds.
Well, wisely if you're looking after your health, but not wisely if you're trying to impress Jerry Glanville. Jerry Glanville looks for those guys that dives through those defensive backs' legs and looks for a little contact, not just kind of scoots out of bounds because it's a convenient thing to do.
Well, at 5'7", 201, I'll give him credit for being smart.
See, when you don't do something Jerry Glanville there likes, he forgets your name. As far as his kicker is concerned, it's number 5 till he does something good. He referred to Andre Bruce as number 93. If he doesn't like you, you don't have a name.
He's calling out a lot of numbers then. First and 10. And Chafee again on the ground. Gain of about 5 on a play. 4 carries for 22 yards by Chafee.
Falcons are continuing to win that battle up front, right behind Freilich, 79, and Chris Hinton, number 75 for the Falcons. That right side's got a lot of Pro Bowls between it, and right now it's playing like it.
6:08 remaining in the first half. Atlanta with the full complement of timeouts remaining. Kansas City with only 2. 2nd and 5 from the 44. Jones slips and slides.
Jones, the ball carrier.
A gain of 3 on the slide.
He was tackled by Bill Vaughn.
That play there looked like an example of the old turf monster coming up and grabbing Bill Jones by the foot.
Turf monster.
That's right. The turf monster got him. Keith Jones, that is, not Bill.
70 rushing yards by the Falcons. 43 of them by Keith Jones. Third and 2. 6 defensive backs in for the Chiefs. Ball at the Chiefs 41. And the play is whistled dead. Did the play clock expire on him?
Timeout. Kansas City.
And Kansas City calls for a timeout. That leaves them with 1
timeout
remaining here in the first half. Tomorrow, CBS Sports
needs a guy like a Jimmy Connors. Instead of having to relate to these 14, 15, 16-year-old brats the whole time, making $5 million a year, it's nice to see a guy 39 years old, been written off. Everybody says he's washed up. Now he comes out, he might still be playing with the same racket he won his last U.S. Open with.
Who still has some brat in him. 3rd and 2 for Atlanta. Ball at the 41 of Kansas City. 5:07 remaining in the first half. Tracy Johnson, the lone back. Incomplete. Hit the ground first. Intended receiver was Mike Pritchard, the rookie out of Colorado.
The last 3 times Atlanta's tried to throw the ball, Kansas City's gotten very good pressure on him. Bill Moss hit him the last time. Before that, it was Neil Smith. Before that, it was Leonard Griffin. But where's Derek Thomas? I got to think Mike Ken's doing a heck of a job against that Pro Bowler, number 58. Thomas had 20 sacks last year. So far, he's invisible.
Thought it might be a realistic goal, Derek Thomas, to average maybe 2 sacks a game this year. Not so far. Scott Fulhag on the punt for Atlanta. A high one. And an excellent play by the special teams captain, Albert Shelley. A 40-yard punt. And the Chiefs will start at their own 1.
And Fulhag's the only punter I've ever seen that has his own T-shirt. It's got a picture of him punting on the front of it, and it says Foothag.
Well, he put a foot in that one.
That's something you see a lot of the kickers doing more of nowadays in the NFL, kicking the ball down the middle and trying to make it die inside the playing field instead of kicking for those cones and going for the corners. I think it's just a better percentage, better odds than trying to kick a ball like that accurately into a corner.
First and 10 for the Chiefs from their own 1. Atlanta offsides as Barry Word gets his first bit of action. Barry Word signed after the 3rd preseason game. Seeing his first action for the Chiefs.
Offsides. Defense. Number 74. 5-yard penalty. Repeat the down. First down.
That's Torrey Epps.
Well, last time DeBerg got one guy to jump. Now he got a twofer. He got himself a nose guard, and he got himself a defensive end, and Bryan and Epps.
Boy, Jerry Glanville looking at his team having had the 7th penalty call against them for 55 yards lost.
Look for Atlanta to take a big chance with a big blitz. They want to make something happen here.
1st and 5. Word. Only a yard picked up on a play, stopped by Mike Gann. Only 79 yards of offense by the Kansas City Chiefs here in the first half. And who'd have thumped that?
There's Mike Gann you saw briefly there on the screen. He's got 3 quarterback hurries, a couple of contacts. He's got quite a few tackles, got a pass defense. So far in this first half, the story has been this Atlanta Falcons defense has taken the fight out of the Chiefs offense.
But that 1-yard pickup brings up a 2nd and 4. 3:57 left in the first half. This is Barry Word again. And Barry Word upended. Darian Connor in. Little help by Jesse Tuggle as well.
Jesse Tuggle, number 58, made the tackle on that play. The littlest big linebacker in the league. And look at their rushing defense stats for 1990. They went from the absolute worst to first in the league with a 3.3 per. And Tuggle had over 210 tackles last year at linebacker.
Led the league with it.
A lot of ice bags on the shoulder and neck during the days off.
Kansas City only 1 of 4 in 3rd down conversions. Complete to Rob Thomas. And this will be a first down as he continues to fight his way up to about the 22-yard line. Excellent 2nd and 3rd effort by Rob Thomas. Nets him a 13-yard gain.
Well, we've already seen a few of these plays open up. Atlanta's bringing a blitz in the middle with Jesse Tuggle. DeBerg reads it perfectly and gets the ball to Thomas. Now look at this fight by Rod Thomas. He's not going to go down. Deion Sanders goes around the head, doesn't tackle properly like he should, goes for a headshot, and Thomas spins away and gets some extra yards.
1st and 10 from the 22. 2:22 remaining in the first half. Play action. DeBerg complete to Stephon Page. Page with the first down, stopped by Scott Case. 13 yards picked up on that play. Heading for the 2-minute warning. And at the 2-minute mark, Kansas City from its own 35, a ways to go, trailing by 3. Minute of timeouts remaining. Kansas City with just 1.
So we're going to see Kansas City, if the ball doesn't get out of bounds, stay in the hurry-up offense. They're 30 yards away from Nick Lowry's field goal range. If they can get to the 35-yard line, anywhere from 52 in, Lowry is almost automatic.
6 defensive backs in for the Falcons. 1st and 10, ball at the 35 of Kansas City. Page in motion. DeBerg complete to Page, and Page sheds a couple of tackles and picks up 8 yards on that pass play. Hurry up offense, in effect, 1:48 remaining in the half.
With that one timeout, they want to use it to set themselves up for the field goal.
2nd and 2. Little dump off. Ball is dropped as Kimball Anders was anticipating the hit before catching the ball. Jesse Tuggle coming in flying for the hit.
Jesse Tuggle is one of the few middle linebackers, if not the only one in the NFL you would see in passing situations like this still in defense. He stays in their nickel. He's got that swivel hip and that ability to run, and he's also got the ability to stuff runs. Jerry Glanville loves this guy because he saves him an extra player. He doesn't have to go with an extra nickel linebacker.
Swivel hip, huh?
Oh, then you hit him back there.
3rd and 2. Ball from the football on the 43. And a wide open Rob Thomas the second Kansas City player to drop the ball. So DeBerg with the team marching. Schottenheimer remarkably cool on the sidelines as both Anders and Thomas drop easy passes from DeBerg.
Maybe it's only appropriate to their performance in this first half that the Chiefs should have a little futile effort in that circumstance. Marty might be quiet on the sidelines, but I don't want to go anywhere near that locker room at halftime. He's going to be ripping heads.
Barker with a good punt, and Deion Sanders at about the 10. Now Sanders, there are flags on the play. Sanders is claiming he signaled for the fair catch, but it wasn't the traditional hand straight up. He kind of waved his hand.
I think he had plenty of a signal for a fair catch. They're going to call Washington 46 for roughing him and hitting him once he caught the ball.
A 46-yard punt by Barker.
I mean, granted, Deion doesn't lead the league in sympathy as far as for things like that, but that was unnecessary. See it one more time.
Well, see, that's my point. It wasn't a traditional fair catch signal with the hand straight up. And like everything else he does, it was with a little style, if you will.
That's something that the officials are going to have to decide. But I think if you're a guy running down covering the punt, you know, that's plenty signal to make you go off and not hit the guy.
I got you.
We have a personal foul. Interference with the opportunity to make a fair catch. 15-yard penalty. First down.
And the officials agree with you. Coming up on NFL Today, Doctor's halftime report. Greg and Terry with all the scores. Falcons first and 10 from their own 28. 1:20 left in the first half. Chafee for 2 yards. Play is whistled dead.
They said his forward motion was stopped behind the line of scrimmage. Watch out for Jerry Glanville in this situation. He will play possum. He's got 2 or 3 tight ends in right now. He's got those guys running up in the middle of the field. Watch a play action fake and see them try to pop one deep to one of the wide receivers, probably Michael Haynes.
Forward progress was ruled as stopped for the runner. Second down.
Second and 8 from the 30. Jones, the ball carrier. Nice hold. 5-yard dash by Keith Jones.
Tackled by Dino Hackett.
11 carries for 48 yards for Keith Jones as you take a look at Glanville heading toward the locker room with under 20 seconds left in the first half.
3rd and 3.
And Jones gets the signal from the sidelines from Glanville as well as the rest of the squad. Let's take it on in. So Atlanta will receive in the second half. Schottenheimer obviously frustrated. And that's the end of the first half with the score. Atlanta 3, Kansas City nothing.
Yo, everyone, we're here in New York. Football is not the only game in town today. The U.S. Open Tennis Championships continue. Chiefs, welcome back to our studio here in New York. Greg Gumbel along with Terry Bradshaw. A quick rundown of the scores for you. And we'll start at Lambeau Field in Green Bay, where the Eagles are leading the Packers by a score of 13-0 with just under 2 minutes to play in the first half. Randall Cunningham out of that game with strained knee ligaments. Tight end Keith Jackson has been ejected along with Matt Brock for fighting in that game. Jim McMahon has thrown his first touchdown pass as a member of the Eagles. It's 13-0 Philadelphia. Cleveland is trailing the Dallas Cowboys at halftime by a score of 20-7. 2 touchdown passes for Troy Aikman. The game you are watching at the half, the Brad DeLuisa field goal is the only score so far. The Falcons lead the Chiefs by a 3-0 count. At New Orleans, the Saints getting big production this afternoon, leading the Seattle Seahawks at halftime by a score of 20-7. And at the Meadowlands, the New York Jets are leading the Tampa Bay Bucks by a score of 10-6. Pat Leahy has become the 6th all-time scorer in NFL history with a 30-yard field goal. And after this timeout, the NFL continues here on CBS.
On the ground, 79 yards as far as Atlanta is concerned. Make that 77. Now, take a look at the penalty yards. certainly Atlanta. Now, is it safe to say that Atlanta has maybe hurt themselves by the number of penalties and how many yards they've lost?
Well, Atlanta goes out of their way to explain their penalties. They say, we're not a dirty team. We're not a penalized team. But I think the numbers speak for themselves. Atlanta's had a couple of unnecessary, stupid roughing penalties. But the big penalties have been really against them, have been the jumping off sides. Look for at least 2 to 3 more of those coming up in this second half. Steve DeBerg, the more pressure they put on him, the more pressure he's going to put back on that Atlanta defense and draw them off sides.
Boy, take a look at this. This is halftime. His team is up 3-0, but he still has time for mugging with some fans, huh?
Well, you know, you get the roadies come in off the rock shows and the country western things and everything else, and Jerry Glanville's always got time for a fan. Look at that belt buckle. He gets one more job, you won't be able to see him. He changes jobs one more time. He says that belt buckle company isn't going to be able to make him any more belt buckles.
They certainly don't have any more silver. Nick Lowry on to kick off for Kansas City. And back for Atlanta, a trio of receivers, but the deep man, Deion Sanders.
Keep an eye on Deion in this second half. In the last 2 years in opening games, he has made big plays. First time he touched the ball as a Falcon was a touchdown on a punt return.
Sanders is flanked by Brian Jordan on the near side, Keith Jones on the far side. And the second half is underway. A high short kick. Sanders from his own 11. Across the 20, and Sanders gets up to about the 28-yard line, stopped by Charles Washington. So Atlanta will take over, ball marked on its own 28 as Chris Miller looking for a better second half.
Well, you see those 2 interceptions. He had a duck and an overthrow, but the rest of his passes really weren't too bad. Chris Miller and the Falcons, as I mentioned earlier, have got to throw the ball here in this second half to be effective against Kansas City. They can't keep playing, you know, Big Ten, University of Oklahoma, smash you in your face football. Glanville, I think, thinks he's got this defense softened up.
Chafee in motion. Play action. Miller throws it complete. And Mike Ruther, a lineman's dream, playing tight end in there only for blocking purposes, allegedly, Randy.
Thank you very much. The athletes are at center in the NFL. That's why they put Mike Ruther at tight end. Look at the defense bite on this fake. Ruther is absolutely alone. You know what I'd like to have a shot of during this play?
His face.
I know, a shot of Chris Miller's face, because he had to be laughing when he threw that ball at Ruther. He never would have thrown it near him if he wasn't so wide open.
Ball is at midfield, 1st and 10 for Atlanta. Johnson in motion. Chafee. And Chafee pushing ahead and still on his feet. Talk about good grinding action with his legs. 7 yards picked up on that play by Pat Chafee.
Marty Schottenheimer spent a lot of time talking to us about fundamentals and basics. Well, right now he is being out-hit, out-tackled, out-everything by the Atlanta Falcons. The fundamentals for this Kansas City Chiefs team, be it blocking or tackling, right now are very poor.
Marty Schottenheimer was very candid with us, Randy, yesterday, saying he was really scared coming into today because he had no idea what to expect.
That's opening day every year. No matter how veteran your team is, you never know how they're going to react.
2nd and 3. Ball at the 43. This is Jones. And Jones has the first down and scoots ahead for an extra 3. 5 yards picked up on the play by Keith Jones. Randy, I had asked you for a synopsis of the first quarter, and you said the first quarter was nothing more than a long drive by Atlanta, and Atlanta trying to duplicate it here in the third.
Well, maybe I'm wrong. Jerry Glanville thinks he can just pound this ball away and keep pounding it away. This will frustrate the Kansas City defense. Sooner or later, this type of play calling is going to force, I think, Kansas City into making a mistake, and it's up to Chris Miller to make them pay for that mistake.
First and 10. Chafee. Ball is loose. Kansas City says they have it. We'll see. And it's confirmed. Chiefs ball. turnover of the game for Atlanta. And it was recovered by Bill Moss.
Bill Moss, number 63 here. Watch him right there on the left side. He comes in, puts his shoulder on the ball, causes the fumble. Chaffee coughs it up. Who recovers it? Bill Moss.
Ball at its own 37, Kansas City. 1st and 10, play action. DeBerg with time, complete to Stephon Page. First down by a couple. Run out of bounds by Deion Sanders. 5 receptions in the game this afternoon for Stephon Page.
Gain of 13 on play was knocked out of bounds by Deion Sanders. First down.
Philadelphia blanking Green Bay 13-zip.
Get him, Bill Collar.
Stephon Page, 5 catches for 69 yards in the game. 1st and 10 from midfield. Flea flicker. Is it caught? Incomplete. Rob Thomas, the intended receiver. And DeBerg had pressure on him.
You know, when this play comes in from the sideline, it seems like a good idea. When he tells it to the guys in the huddle, Steve DeBerg says, that sounds like a good idea. I don't know if it seems like quite as good an idea right about now. Ouch. Helmet to the ear hole. You don't hear anything when that happens. All you see is stars.
And hear bells. 2nd and 10. Okoye, the lone back. Okoye, the ball carrier. Dives ahead for 3 yards. That's an awfully big body to keep up in the air for a long period of time, Randy. 9 carries for 37 yards on the afternoon for Okoye.
Yeah, he glides like a 747. You know, those engines go out, he goes down. You get those legs out from underneath him, gravity says, nuh-uh, sorry.
Not like a light plane, huh?
Nope.
3rd and 7. Anders, the lone back. Stephon Page to the near side. DeBerg looking for Page. Incomplete. Tim McKyer, the quiet one, on the coverage.
Atlanta put good pressure on Steve DeBerg. He would have liked to stay back there another half second or so to give himself some time to throw, but he had to put that ball up a little bit too soon, and where it was thrown, neither guy really had a chance to get it.
Ryan Barker on to punt again, and back, of course, Deion Sanders. And Kansas City will down it at the 15-yard line. A 31-yard punt by Brian Barker.
32-yard punt.
3-zip Atlanta. 10:59 remaining in the 3rd. And Randy, who would have thought this would have been the story of the game?
Exactly, James. We talked about Atlanta's great red gun passing game. They're pounding the ball on the ground, and one of the NFL's best defense right now is being frustrated because they can't get the ball back for their offense.
Broussard in motion. Play action. Miller under pressure. Smith trying to get to him. And a good escape, but a fumble by Miller recovered by Deron Cherry of Kansas City. A good escape by Chris Miller results in a fumble, and Deron Cherry recovers it.
This might be that spark, that big play that the Kansas City Chiefs needed to give them a little momentum.
Play was ruled as a fumble on the field, recovered by Kansas City. First down.
One more time, watch Chris Miller. One of the things, he's only a handful of quarterbacks in the NFL that have the kind of mobility and movement that can do this, but you got to put the ball away. I mean, tuck it away, not flail it away. Look at that job by Chris Martin, number 57, slaps that ball right out of there.
Ball at the 27 of Atlanta. Okoye. Still on his feet. Boy, is he a load to bring down. Scott Case hanging on for dear life, but Okoye still picked up 5 yards.
With the Chiefs' offensive line, and Marty Schottenheimer can keep this guy going straight ahead. Don't get him going sideways. He gets that momentum going. He gets that little VW Beetle rolling down there, and all you see is that helmet coming at you. He's going to be trouble.
5 yards picked up on a play. 2nd and 5. Ball at the 23. Okoye. Inside the 10. A first down by 6 yards, brought down by Mo Gardner. 14-yard bull run by Okoye.
There seems to be a spark and a fire now with the Kansas City Chiefs. And the Atlanta Falcons might have finally done something they don't want to do, and that's wake up the Chiefs with their 4th turnover of the day.
1st and goal, ball at the 8. Stephon Page to the near side, Rob Thomas to the far side. Okoye, straight ahead.
Last time they were in this position, James, we criticized them for being a little bit cute and trying to dink a little pass and do a little that. I don't look for too much cute right here. You won't see too much home alone. They're going to drill this thing right in the end zone.
David Lutz, Tim Grunhard opening up the hole for a 4-yard gain by Christian Okoye. 2nd and goal, ball at the 4. Okoye, right. Touchdown, Kansas City. Nick Lowry on for the point after. He was 37 of 38 last year. And Kansas City on top by the score of 7-3, thanks to the power running of one Christian Okoye. The kickoff. Caught in the end zone by Deion Sanders, wisely deciding not to bring it out. It'll be 1st and 10 from the 20 for Atlanta.
Another look at this. Watch the block by Jonathan Hayes working right here. Drills his man in. And watch Jordan, the safety, get sucked this way. Then the counter trade does what it's supposed to do. And that's Lee Okoye in untouched. Nice block by John Alt, working on tipping the linebacker 52. No contest. Look at Christian. Look at Grunhard. That's 300 pounds. Get off my man Christian there.
I mean, Okoye is strong, but hey, let's be realistic about this. Hey, folks, 4 plays, 27 yards, 202. It was all Okoye. 1st and 10 for Atlanta. Jones. 6-yard juke moves by Keith Jones, stopped by Bill Moss.
That Philadelphia
2nd and 4.
That Philadelphia defense must be rising to the occasion with Randall Cunningham out, shutting out Don Mikowski and the Packers.
Ball marked at the 27. 2nd and 4. 8:07 remaining in the 3rd. Jones again. Boy, what good balance as Jones finds his balance enough for the first down. Stopped by Duron Cherry. And speaking of Duron Cherry, club record for him, Randy.
That's right. It's his 15th career fumble recovery, which ties him with Bobby Bell and Willie Lanier.
Ooh, good company.
Some storied Hall of Fame type players here in Kansas City.
Excellent company. Now you take a look at the Atlanta miscues, the turnovers, and Atlanta trails it 7-3. Jones and Chafee, the backs, 1st and 10. Jones. And Keith Jones running hard, looking impressive as he picks up 5. Being stopped by Dino Hackett. 15 carries for 69 yards for the third-year player from Illinois.
You know, James, I want to make a point here about this thing about Atlanta turnovers. Kansas City is supposed to be a Super Bowl type team. You make 4 turnovers against a Super Bowl type team, they're supposed to get a lot of points out of it. Kansas City finally got a touchdown. A fumble, a punt, and a punt were the last 3 results of their last 3 turnovers before that fumble recovery.
2nd and 5 for the Falcons from their own 36. Tracy Johnson in motion. Jones, the workhorse back. A loss of 1 on that play. A horde of red shirts around, led by Derek Thomas and Neil Smith.
Jerry Glanville sticking with his ground game. When you're ahead 3-0, you're playing keep away. You're eating up clock. Now that he trails 7-3, there's a little bit of desperation that starts creeping into the player's mind. Well, if the run doesn't work, why don't we throw it?
6 DBs in for the Chiefs on 3rd and 6 for Atlanta. Miller. Incomplete. Intended receiver George Thomas, and the man known as The Rock, Kevin Ross, deflects the pass. We talked to Tony Dungy, defensive backs coach, and he says Kevin Ross is his Mike Tyson.
He's got that mentality. He is nothing but tough. Fast, tough. He's the guy you'd want in a bar fight, as Carl Peterson told us. You got to get in a fight. Kevin Ross has got to be with you.
Borhage on to punt. Fred Jones from the 34, dropped at the 37. Elbert Shelley doing an excellent job. 36-yard punt, 4-yard return, and you get a clear indication as to why Elbert Shelley is the captain of the special teams. But as Falcons lead it, make it the Triller on CBS. 1st and 10 for the Chiefs. Ball at their own 38. 5:35 remaining in the 3rd. Long count by DeBerg. The result, Okoye the ball handler. And Okoye ahead for a 5-yard run. Randy, it's pretty apparent that Marty Schottenheimer must have heard your remarks. They were delivered to him somehow, because on that touchdown drive, it was Okoye left, Okoye straight ahead, Okoye right.
Well, we talked about Marty's philosophy being basics and fundamentals. There is nothing more basic and fundamental than just saying, I'm going to give my ball to this great big back here. I'm going to have my big lineman lean on you for a while, and we're going to run the ball.
2nd and 5. Stephon Page in motion. And Okoye, the ball carrier. What a hole, what a run. 1st down. Into Falcons territory, stopped by Rick Bryan. A 9-yard run by Christian Okoye. 15 carries for 78 yards for Okoye.
Watch the gap open up right out here as the guard and the tackle, Alt and Zott, come through here and lead Christian Okoye. Watch this hole. Good job by Zott. Alt leads through, gets a cut block on Case 25. Oof, Rick Bryan has come all the way back from the backside to make that tackle.
First and 10, ball at the 48 of Atlanta. Play action. And DeBerg threw it in the direction of Jonathan Hayes. A play read perfectly that time by Robert Lyles. And let's pass along a note that we received from our colleagues at the NFL Today. Randall Cunningham, quarterback for the Philadelphia Eagles, has 2 torn ligaments in his left knee. He will undergo surgery tomorrow. Boy, talk about a big blow to the Eagles. So Jim McMahon will have it at the helm.
This might be another one of those NFL years of the backup. Steve Young's in San Francisco starting for Joe Montana. He's out. Now all of a sudden Randall Cunningham's being replaced by McMahon.
2nd and 10. Okoye. And Okoye, 4 yards on the ground, stopped by the combination of Darian Connor and Jesse Tuggle.
Watch what it's like to have a Christian Okoye coming at you. You know, I keep comparing him to that VW Bug because he's so short and kind of wide. Look at this. He's coming right at you through the lens into your living room. And if you've got 4 guys that big to help you stop him, go ahead.
Need 4. Third and 6. 4 wideouts in for the Chiefs. 6 DBs for the Falcons. Fade pattern to Page, and it's caught. First down. And a flag on a play as Stephon Page got past Tim McKyer, but it looks like it'll be brought back.
Marty, you ever have one of those days where everything seems to go wrong?
Holding. Offense. Number 38. 10-yard penalty. Repeat the down. 3rd down.
Oh, that hurts when you have your running back, Kim Anders, holding on a play like that. Watch Stephon Page isolated against Tim McKyer. McKyer says, when I'm guarding you, you can run a slant or you can run a little fade. That's a fade. Beautiful catch. What keeps a 9-year veteran going? Stephon Page, a lot of receptions, a lot of yards. JB, what's this? What do you think he wants?
That is an excellent-looking Super Bowl ring, 3 of which belong to my partner, Randy Cross.
That's what it's about for the veterans, folks. Money is nice, but you can't buy one of them rings.
3rd and 16. DeBerg complete. And Tim Barnett with a big gain on a play, recapturing about 14 of those yards. Randy, I guess the question here, that close to the first down marker, within 2, do you plan to go for it?
Well, it would appear that Marty might go for it here. I'm really surprised. What you might look for here is Steve DeBerg with that ability to drive people off sides, going to the line of scrimmage. He will be hitting his snap count really, really hard, trying to draw somebody off. But I'll be shocked if they actually run a play.
Let's see. It's 4th and 3. Ball at the 41.
They're in the gun. They're going.
And Anders, will he get up? He made it. Kimball Anders tripped and fell, got up, and got the extra couple for the first down.
Why do all these NFL teams own all these computers and spend time breaking down plays? You see weaknesses, you see flaws, and it had to be something the Kansas City coaches had read in the Atlanta defense that was available. Good gutsy effort by Kimball Anders getting up after that catch, but he was wide open, no one near him.
After that holding call, how badly do you think Anders wanted to make up for that?
He was pretty motivated to get up off the ground.
Okoye the tailback. Saxon, the lead. Play action. DeBerg has it batted away, deflected, and give the credit to Rick Bryan. Rick Bryan, number 77, 8th-year player out of Oklahoma, deflected that pass.
Steve DeBerg seeing a lot of seating time here at Arrowhead Stadium. He's getting heavy. The only thing that's seen the turf more than the backside of his game pants right now are the bottom of his feet. I mean, he's spending a lot of time hanging in there and making throws and then paying the price.
And I'm sure his feet better prepared to take it. 2nd and 10. Okoye. And Randy, that was a clear indication of how Okoye is not as effective running side to side. Ken Tippins, nice job. 3rd-year player out of Middle Tennessee State, dropping him.
And that looked like something straight out of a training camp drill. And training camp linebackers learn when the running back is running sideways like that, you come up to him, you put your head across the bow, you wrap up your arms, and you drive him to the ground. What else can I say? Perfect tackle by Tippins on a hard object to bring down in Christian Okoye. But great point, James. He's running sideways. He's a lot more vulnerable.
Brings up a 3rd and 9. Randy, ball at the 33. 23 seconds remaining in the 3rd period of play. DeBerg with time, going up top for Emil Harry. Incomplete as Bobby Butler was there with him step for step. Chiefs lead it 7-3. 15 seconds remaining in the 3rd period of play. DeBerg, 10 of 20 for 122 yards. And coming up, the 10th play of this drive.
Well, the crowd doesn't like it, but when you go for it on 4th and 2, it takes a lot of guts. When you go for it on 4th and 10, it doesn't take too many brains.
Timeout. Kansas City.
So
Their
Kansas
first
City
timeout.
burns off its
This
first
is a
timeout in the
40-second
second half,
timeout.
leaving them with 2.
Kansas City is well within Nick Lowry's field goal range here.
That being, Randy?
At least 52, 53 yards. I think he's almost automatic from there. He goes anywhere outside of that, and he's a little trouble. This game is presented by authority of the National Football League, and this CBS telecast is intended for the private use of our audience. Any rebroadcast or other use of this telecast without the express written consent of CBS and the National Football League is prohibited.
Nick Lowry, talk about Mr. Accurate, 34 of 37 field goals last year. He's got a consecutive streak of 21 working. Was 15 of 15 here at Arrowhead. You take a look, he's in some good company. This will be a 51-yard field goal attempt.
And wind is not an issue, but these Atlanta Falcons are very good at getting penetration, specifically off the corners. Watch the wingback areas. That's where Atlanta usually breaks somebody loose.
Lowry, 18 of 41 from 50 yards plus. It's up. Is he going to make it? No good. So the 21 consecutive streak is over. Ten seconds remaining in the 3rd quarter of play. Atlanta complete to Haynes, and Haynes has it jarred loose. Incomplete. Nice hit by Albert Lewis. Boy, what a game he's having.
Pass was ruled incomplete. Incomplete.
What a game by Albert Lewis, the young man who's studying kickboxing.
Well, last year in the playoffs, Tim McCarr was with the Miami Dolphins, and he talked about the Kansas City Chiefs defensive backs being overrated. He mentioned it again to us yesterday. I think he might get a little conference going with Michael Haynes and Andre Rison on the plane ride home from Kansas City and maybe have a discussion with their opinion of the defensive backs for Kansas City, because I think the receivers for Atlanta hold them in a little higher regard.
2nd and 10 with 6 seconds remaining. Miller throws it complete to the sidelines. George Thomas. And he'll be about 3 yards shy at the end of the 3rd. And the score, Kansas City leads it 7-3. Our coverage will continue after this message from your local station. You're watching the NFL on CBS. Take a look at Stephon Page, bruised left knee. He'll be back in action. 3rd and 2 for Atlanta. Ball at its own 41. Jones. And Jones won't get it. 1 yard gain, stopped by Dan Saliamua.
That's been a name along with Broderick Thomas we haven't heard much. Thomas caused the fumble earlier. Derek Thomas caused the fumble earlier, and Dan Saliamua almost seems like that was Dan's first tackle.
He's a character, Saliamua.
Great Plan B acquisition by Carl Peterson and the Chiefs from the Detroit Lions. And Saliamua has got a legitimate chance of being a perennial nose guard Pro Bowler.
Fulhaig, booming one. And back at the 2, Fred Jones. And Jones across the 20, flags thrown on a play to about the 21. A 55-yard boomer by Fulhaig and an 18-yard return by Jones. But we'll see what the infraction is.
Illegal block on the return. Number 87 will penalize and be first down.
That's Troy Sadowski, the culprit. And with that timeout, we'll take a break. Story of the game, 4 turnovers, 1 Kansas City touchdown. And Chris Miller, 3 for the last 9.
And let's take a look at that last punt return. Fulhaig boomed one, and the reason this ball was returned by Jones is he has so much room in front of him. There's got to be 20 yards for the first person. That's why he caught that on the 1. But he goes, watch this flash in front of your screen. Right there, that's where the illegal block in the back was, and that's why the Kansas City Chiefs will be starting in a hole here.
Specifically, ball on the 9.
I still can't.
The gold lettering.
I can't get used to that gold lettering on that football.
Why not?
It looked like, I don't know, it looked like something I would buy somewhere else. It's a World League ball.
The World League carrier right there, Christian Okoye. We talked about Randall Cunningham a little bit ago. Let's check in for more details with Greg Gumbel.
Well, James, the news for the Eagles and their fans is as bad as it could possibly be. Earlier today at Green Bay, first play, second quarter, Cunningham hit by linebacker Bryce Paup, tore 2 ligaments in his left knee. He will undergo surgery tomorrow, and it means that Randall Cunningham may miss the entire 1991 NFL season. Let's go back to James at Arrowhead.
All right, Greg, and boy, was Randall so intent on turning this season around and hopefully bringing the Philadelphia fans what they've waited so long for. DeBerg back to pass quickly, and it's complete to Jonathan Hayes for the first down. And Hayes across the 30 to about the 33. Tackled finally by Brian Jordan. 20-yard pass play as DeBerg is grimacing in pain.
And once again, for what seems like about the 24th, 25th time, Steve DeBerg's getting up off the ground after taking a shot and paying the price for a completed throw. He's sort of given there as Tim Green. He's ready to fall down when Green hits him. He lands right on that elbow.
DeBerg, 11 for 20, 142 yards. First and 10 for Kansas City. Ball at the 34. Okoye. Run down from behind. And give the credit to the quick one, Darian Connor. And the Jackson State linebacker having himself a very good ball game. Randy, we didn't talk about this at the top of the show. Andre Bruce not in the game. I mean, a #1 draft choice, and he's on the inactive list. Your summation of that?
I think it's very easy to surmise. I mean, Jerry Glanville says he's healthy. He obviously doesn't feel he's as good as any of the guys he's got currently in uniform for this game.
That's saying a lot. 2nd and 11. DeBerg throws it complete to Page, and Page trying to get back to the first down marker, but he's shy, probably about a half a yard. Let's see where they mark it. 6 catches for 79 yards, stopped by Bobby Butler. Stephon Page, a 9th-year veteran out of Fresno State, and boy, has he kept himself in great shape. And, you know, I asked him as he was heading out the door, Randy, when he was talking to you and I, what was keeping him motivated to hang in so long?
Well, like we mentioned earlier, I mean, he's talking about the Super Bowl ring. And this is a guy that's got a lot of things. He's got the money. He's got the recognition. His peers know how good he is. But the difference, the one thing he doesn't have, and they haven't seen here in Kansas City since '69, is the Super Bowl ring.
Okoye, they may not see him. Let's see if Case can catch him. inside the 10. A 48-yard rumble by Christian Okoye.
This run speaks for itself. 6'1", 260. Watch him go.
"20 carries, 135 yards on the afternoon for Okoye." Yes, and hose him down. Barry Word in to give him a break.
Timeout, Atlanta.
And
Their
Atlanta
first timeout.
takes its first timeout, leaving it with 2. It'll be first and goal, ball at the 9 when we come back. 1,000 plus with a little something to scream about as you take a look at the score by quarters.
And we mentioned it went into this game, James. I think we fully expected to see a lot of scoring out of these two teams, somewhere around the 24-17, something like that. We haven't seen that. We've seen two offenses make a lot of mistakes and two defenses generally play pretty tough.
And a big running back chalk up a lot of yardage. 135 for Okoye, his all-time high 170 against Dallas back in '89.
Can they relate to that all over the country?
First and goal from the 9. Barry Word looking for a hole. And Word finally finds his way forward for about 2.
Not much there. The Falcons did a fine job of stretching that play out.
Specifically Darian Connor and Rick Bryan. Randy, what a combination to take Okoye out at 260 and bring in Barry Word at 245.
That's one of the great arguments for safeties like Atwater and Dennis Smith and people like that are 6'2", 225. It's a little fair. It's not quite as fair when you're talking about little guys like Atlanta's got.
9:40 remaining in the third. Barry Word. And Word ahead for 2 more. Christian Okoye talked very nicely about it yesterday. He said, no animosity between Barry and myself. As a matter of fact, I look at it like we divide the punishment.
And he knows about that punishment from 2 years ago, carrying the ball 35, 40 times a game. So as you see, Word and Okoye, Word last year being the 1,000-yard rusher, and Okoye getting over 800 yards.
Word, the healthy one last year. Okoye healthy with him. Third and goal, ball from the 6.
Look for a pick pattern with the wide receivers outside picking up the coverage.
DeBerg with time. Touchdown, Kansas City. Emil Harry.
Emil Harry lined up on the right, was helped out by the other wide receiver in the slot. Going outside, Stephon Page was wide open, and look at the reaction. Little frustration in that reaction, finally.
And Lowry makes it 14 Kansas City points. Emil Harry was Atlanta's 4th-round choice in '85. Too happy to catch that touchdown. Emil Harry was Atlanta's 4th-round choice in 1985, but was released in the preseason that year. Too happy to be on the receiving end of that touchdown. Chiefs on top, 14-3, 8:57 remaining in the game. And Nick Lowry ought to have a bit more juice in the kick. And we'll see what kind of juice is in the leg of Neon Deion Sanders. Opening day has historically been a strong one for Neon Deion Sanders, scoring touchdowns on returns. From the 3, Sanders dropped. And give the credit to James Saxon.
Holding on the run back. Number 54. We will penalize half the distance to the goal line. First down.
So the ball will be moved from the 19 back to just inside the 10.
It is going to get loud here in Arrowhead Stadium for the Falcons offense. They probably will not be able to hear much of a snap count down here in this hole.
Complete to Haynes for the first down. And that took the noise out of the crowd. A 16-yard pass play from Chris Miller to Mike Haynes.
And that's the fastest way to get these people back in their seats and looking for the hot dog vendors to throw a nice long completion like that and pretend the noise never even bothered you.
As a matter of fact, Randy, this was the only stadium last year that had the noise violation called against it.
That's right. Marty Schottenheimer says, we go to Denver, it doesn't get called. We go to Seattle, it doesn't get called. We come home, we get a noise call.
Miller to throw, going deep, incomplete. Intended receiver George Thomas. And Chris Miller talked about how Thomas is a favorite receiver of his because, in fact, he can fly. Randy, how does the shoulder look of Chris Miller to you? He talked about the fact that he's got a plate on that shoulder. Does it look pretty good to you?
Well, it says titanium plate and 7 screws in that thing, and the plate faces forward, so it wouldn't impinge at all on any throwing motion or movement. But he looks fine. He's lifted a little weights. He's about 10, 15 pounds heavier than he was last year, and the weight looks good on him. It is all muscle, and he's solid.
But he's struggled since the first quarter. 2nd and 10. Jones, the ball carrier. A gain of 5. Neil Smith on the tackle.
One thing we haven't seen from the Falcons, and by their own admission, they don't feature it much, is an intermediate passing game. They say they've got the guys that can burn it, and they got the guys that go long, and they got the guys that can run it. Well, you can't always run the ball, and you sure as heck can't always throw the ball deep down the field. Jerry Glanville and the Atlanta Falcons need to get an intermediate 10 to 15-yard passing game going.
3rd and 5. Red gun offense. Complete to Rising, driven back by Kevin Ross. That's why they call him the Rock. We'll bring up a 3rd and 2 as we take a look at the score there. 3-2's there, huh? Atlanta on top of Philadelphia, 3-2. Atlanta came into today's action, the Braves that is, leading the Dodgers by 1 game.
Hey, don't count those Dodgers out quite yet. They got Tommy Lasorda now on third base, coaching third base. He's got his guys fired up. We'll see. They blew a pretty good lead. Oh, yes, JB, I am a Dodger fan.
I was about to say, no bias there from the West Coast guy, huh? As we take a look at Andre Rison, caught a good one in the ribs there. Scott Fulhag on to punt.
That's a return ball.
And Jones loses it, but gets it back. Boy, talk about quick reaction. Now, that's a highlight film there. I mean, Jones forward momentum, knocked the ball forward, somehow managed to recover it.
It's not too often you see a punt go the other way almost as fast as it was kicked, but that thing went up in the air. It was a low line drive. Look at Marty. He's making a bit of a point to Fred Jones. You know what's great about Marty Schottenheimer? It wouldn't matter if it's Fred Jones, a backup wide receiver, Steve DeBerg, Derek Thomas. He's even-handed. Look at this. It comes in hot. It's going out hot. Unbelievable. He gets the hit and still holds on to it.
And saw 5 white shirts in front of him. First and 10. Ball at the 43. I'm sorry, Randy.
Well, we fumbled that exchange, and so did DeBerg. Grunhard and DeBerg's exchange was a little off.
But hopefully we were as good as him as recovering.
And there it goes. Grunhard seemed to move off to his left, trying to block back, and Steve never got the ball.
Timeout, Atlanta. Their second timeout. This is a 40-second timeout.
And with that timeout, let us remind you that week 2 of the NFL on CBS continues, when most of you will see the Los Angeles Rams against the defending Super Bowl champs, New York Giants. Other regional action includes Chicago at Tampa Bay, New Orleans at Kansas City, Minnesota at Atlanta, or Phoenix at Philadelphia. 56 remaining in the contest. Kansas City with 2 timeouts. Chiefs on top, 14-3, and the crowd is cheering because Christian Okoye has rushed for 100 yards 12 times, tying Abner Haynes' team record. Second and 14 from the 39. DeBerg, play action. And DeBerg sacked. Second sack of the afternoon, and give it credit this time to Torrey Epps. DeBerg was looking for Rob Thomas, who was well covered by Deion Sanders.
By Kansas City and DeBerg standards, this is not a real good play-action fake. Doesn't seem to sell too many people. He sits and sits and sits. And Torrey Epps, who's been slowed by a twisted ankle the last couple of days, finally gets in there and gets himself a sack. Nose guards enjoy those sacks. You don't see nose guards getting in on sacks that often.
And Torrey Epps takes some pleasure in the fact that his team has helped to put DeBerg in a 3rd and 23 situation. And jarred loose. The ball caught temporarily by Emil Harry, but Brian Jordan rocked him. Oof.
Brian Jordan's going to go over there, sit on the bench, open his mouth, and ask trainer Jimmy Ray there, how many teeth do you see? Look at that. What a stick. Great stick. Well, Brian Jordan seems more shaken than Emil Harry.
I tell you what, his haircut isn't the same as he came into the game with. Sanders back with his unique fair catch signal.
And he does it again just to re-emphasize to the crowd what he meant.
A 43-yard punt. No return as Sanders fair caught it. Doubleheader action here on CBS today. Players will like nothing better than a send-off for Jerry Burns, assuming this is his last year. 1st and 10 from the 27 for the Falcons. Miller. And Miller complete to Floyd Dixon for the first down. 5:55 remaining in the contest. Atlanta trailing 14-3.
And that was exactly the kind of pass we talked about earlier, that intermediate passing zone, 10 to 15 yards. They need to explore that area. You soften them up in the middle, it opens up those long bombs. You can send your speedsters like Thomas, and you can send Haynes down deep for the bombs if the inside respects your passing game.
Red gun offense, 4 wideouts. Atlanta with only 1 timeout remaining. Under 6 to play. Miller gets a couple of great blocks from Houston Hoover and going downtown for Pritchard. And taken away, is that Lewis? Albert Lewis with his 3rd interception of the afternoon. Well, he's going to want to renegotiate.
Watch this. Pritchard, the rookie, meet Mr. Lewis, the Pro Bowler, fighting for the ball. I'm sorry. That is a great play by Albert Lewis. Everybody's got a chance at it, but the guy with the most interceptions is going to come down with it.
And this is the second time that Albert Lewis has snatched 3 interceptions, and guess what? Came against Atlanta.
Not the best of passes by Chris Miller there. He did a great job of avoiding the pressure that was coming on the blitz from the defensive backfield with Petrie coming after him. But when he threw it, he badly underthrew that ball.
5:12 remaining, and you can expect the Chiefs to keep this one on the ground. Okoye pushing his lead blocker ahead. And Randy, I've heard you often talk about the nightmare, no pun intended, of having some big back run up your back. And Baldninger certainly felt that one. There's a flag on the play.
Offside. Defense. Number 76. 5-yard penalty. Repeat the down. First down.
This is the part of the offense and the part of the game where I refer to as the 4-minute offense. You're going to see them run the ball a lot, and they have a goal right here. They want to get 3 to 4 first downs. If they get 3 to 4 first downs, they will run this clock out.
1st and 5. Okoye. Guess what? He got it. Eight yards run by Christian Okoye.
Each team has 1 timeout left to this point, so look for Kansas City to keep this on the ground. I'm sorry, Kansas City's got 2 and Atlanta's got 1. They'll keep this ball on the ground. Atlanta can only stop the clock 1 time now.
Kansas City from its own 18, 1st and 10. Okoye, the lone back, the only back needed. And Okoye dragging ahead for a yard and a half. We'll call it a yard.
One thing to look for in that situation earlier in the game.
Timeout. Atlanta.
And Atlanta
Third and final
burns
timeout.
off its last timeout.
This is a 40-second timeout.
Earlier in the game, you might have seen Christian Okoye bounce that outside. This part of the game in your 4-minute offense, your back wants to stay in bounds, so he's not going to take a chance of getting out there and getting knocked out of bounds and stopping the clock. You see Seattle pulling ahead of New Orleans.
Braves trying to bounce back from a 5-zip loss to the Phillies last night.
Chicago trying to join the Oakland A's and chase after the Minnesota Twins there in the American League West.
And may very well have the services of Bo Jackson.
And actually they announced today that he will be activated Monday.
Tomorrow. Well, Marty Schottenheimer, one of his big objectives is trying to get off to a much faster start than he has in 5 of his last 6 years, when his record through the first 7 games has been 4-3. Barry Word in for Christian Okoye. 2nd and 9, and flags on a play, stopping the play.
That was big Jonathan A. Hayes, number 85, jumping off sides.
Not the kind of music his famous cousin, Benny Carter, would want to hear.
False start on the offense, number 85, simulating the start of a play. 5-yard penalty prior to the snap. still second down.
That almost sounds like a legal term, James. Simulating the start of the play. Why not say he jumped?
New rule this year. I mentioned Benny Carter, and just so that the young folks won't think that I'm talking about a rock star, that's 82-year-old Benny Carter. Great sax player. Jazz, indeed. 2nd and 14. Word still the back. 3:54 left in the game. Chiefs on top, 14-3. Word, the ball carrier. And Word runs it ahead for about 4. And true to their numbers historically, whenever Kansas City has rushed the ball 30 times or more, 10-0. And they've rushed for 30 times today. Take a look at the game clock. 3:24 and counting. And time ticking away for Jerry Glanville. 3rd and 9 from the 19. Word for 2.
And another note here from NFL fans and AFC fans specifically, David Craig, Seattle Seahawks starting quarterback, has a broken right thumb today. So,
wow, your point then about the year the backup coming true in day 1.
Big Dan McGuire, rookie out of San Diego State. He's in a good situation, though. That Seahawk offense is very simple. The ground chuck they like to do, run the ball, very conservative passing game. Not a bad place to have a rookie.
Even if he is a big rookie, huh? 6'9", 6'8". Brian Barker on to punt for Kansas City. Deion Sanders back.
Atlanta's coming after this one. They're going for the block.
They had 4 last year. A high, short one. So the Falcons will take over at about the Kansas City 45 with 2:16 remaining. A 24-yard punt only.
If you're the Kansas City Chiefs, you want to pay a lot of attention to those wide receivers, especially the slot guys in this Atlanta Falcon offense, and just don't get beat deep. Atlanta isn't going to throw much underneath at this point. They're going to be going for home runs.
Schottenheimer. We'll take a look at Jerry Glanville, hoping that home field means having to travel a little over 400 miles to Minneapolis for a Super Bowl. Long ways to go for that. 1st and 10 from the 45 of Kansas City. Miller. Drop. First sack of the afternoon for Kansas City, and give the credit to Neil Smith, who Marty Schottenheimer said is on the verge of becoming one of the best linemen or better linemen in the league. Atlanta trying to get one more play off before the 2-minute mark. Miller looking for Dixon, incomplete. And Dixon greeted rudely by Kevin Porter. Porter, who played his high school ball at Warner Robins High School in Georgia, wanting the fans at home to see what he can do. Looks like the road woes will continue for Atlanta. 18 straight losses on the road coming into today, 1:57 remaining.
And if you have this many turnovers, even if you're at home, you're going to lose the ball game. This team needs to be much more disciplined.
3rd and 18. And nearly picked off by Chris Martin. Derek Thomas trying to go after it as well. And they nullified each other.
That looked like a scene out of the New York Mets outfield. I got it, I got it, I got it. No, I want it. Here comes Martin, following him the whole way. He's got it. And his buddy Thomas knocks the ball away.
Saying, Derek, let's meet at the quarterback, not at the ball.